Good afternoon. We are coming to you live from Parliament's precincts. You're watching NTV at One, and my name is Olive Burrows. Parliament, where we are, is set to resume this afternoon after a 2-month recess. Both houses' first order of business will be reconstituting the House business committees. Let us now join NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi for those details.
Well, as you've said, Olive, is that Parliament is set to resume today at 2:30 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is for both houses, that is the Senate and the National Assembly, and their first order of business will be to reconstitute the House Business Committee, which is the most integral committee for both houses. These two committees are tasked with the duty of making sure that they come up with not just the calendar, but the current business that is going to be transacted on any day that Parliament has its sittings. So today, when they come into the House, other than the nitty-gritties of trying to get to know how the holiday, the 2-month recess was, the members of Parliament will be voting on the names of the House Business Committee members that they will be presented with. At the National Assembly level, we do have that the Member of Parliament for Emuhaya, that is Omboko Milemba, will be dropped, and in his place we are going to have Godfrey Osotsi, a nominated Member of Parliament, who is now going to be joining the House Business Committee. On the Senate side, we are going to have Petronila Were, who is going to be dropped, and in her place they are going to have Beatrice Kwamboka, who is also a nominated Member of Parliament, a nominated senator from Nairobi County. And these are some of the changes that we do expect are going to be effected by both houses today. Later on, after doing that, they are going to rise, and no other business is going to be transacted, as they do wait for the House Business Committee to meet later on in the evening, to be precise at 7 o'clock, where they will now sit and come up with a calendar of what is going to happen tomorrow and also the other previous days until next Tuesday, when they will be meeting again. That is basically what is happening today in Parliament. Not so heavy of a day for them, but the passage of those names for the House Business Committee is quite an important issue, as they will also tomorrow go to the other business, that is reconstituting the committees that they do have here in Parliament. Some members may face the axe and they may be removed from committees, but we can only wait to see whether the respective political parties that sponsored them are going to write letters to that effect. We will be probably looking for the majority leader later in the day to know whether these particular political parties have indeed made sure that they've written to him with regards to removing certain members from certain committees. Back to you, Olive.
Thank you, Kennedy Mureithi. Now, from the Parliament precincts to the Milimani Law Courts, where Seth Olale has been following the NYS Cluster 3 cases. Seth, what is the latest from there?
Well, the latest is that the main hearing for this particular case, we're talking about the NYS 2 Cluster 3 case. Remember that there are a total of 3 cases which all involve the 10 files that were actually tabled by the Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji. So we're talking about the 3rd case. This is the NYS 2 Cluster 3 case. It is ongoing. There was a ruling made earlier as to whether the case should proceed after the prosecution filed an affidavit seeking some of the accused persons, actually 3 of them, to be dismissed, or not really dismissed, but rather the case to resume or to go on without their presence in court. And that idea was opposed by the defense lawyers, but the Chief Magistrate Lucas Onina this morning actually ruled in favor of the prosecution for the case to continue. And so it is a full trial. The main hearing is currently ongoing, and in fact, we have the first prosecution witness that has taken to the witness stand. That is Joyce Ala, and she is an assistant director at the State Department of Transport, and that is, of course, under the Ministry of Transport. And so the case is ongoing, but earlier on we had the prosecution issuing its opening statement, and they stated that they will demonstrate how money meant for NYS was siphoned to unscrupulous companies through NYS in disguise of procurement. They also say that they shall demonstrate how alleged supplier branch contracts were forged, and in addition, the prosecution says that it will also prove to the court how circulars were forged by suppliers who were not pre-qualified. And it is also worth noting, Ole, that the prosecution indeed mentioned 3 companies that the companies are Fastlink Suppliers Limited, Kunjiwa Enterprises, and Army Trade, which the prosecution say, or rather accuse of not having been pre-qualified for them to supply goods and services at NYS. And so the first witness, like I mentioned to you, Joyce Allah, has already taken to the witness stand. We expect more revelations in the coming day, but this is just what is happening here at the Anti-Corruption Court in Milimani. Olive.
Thank you. That's Seth Olale speaking to us from the Milimani Law Courts, where the NYS cases are ongoing. Now to matters transition from primary to secondary school. The Ministry of Education has raised alarm over Form 1 transition at the coast, saying that the region is still lagging behind. Basic Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang said that Mombasa, Kwale, Lamu and Tana River have recorded minimal transition to secondary school, calling on all stakeholders to intervene and address the issue. Kipsang also reiterated that the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS, has captured more than 700,000 students who have joined Form 1. The ministry now says that officials will use data from the system to track the missing number of students in the coast region and establish reasons why they have failed to go to school.
We are going to put primary responsibility, I'm calling it primary responsibility, to the head teachers of our primary schools to make sure that all our children are in secondary schools. You know them. You know them. Our primary school teachers, are we here? Are we here? It is going to be your responsibility, primary responsibility, working with the assistant chiefs and the chiefs to make sure that our children are in school. I want to make it very clear once again that we are going to hold you responsible. If the children that you produced last year are not in school.
And for more on that, let's now join our coast correspondent, Kevin Mutai. Kevin, what else did the PS have to say?
Well, thank you so much, Olive. We are coming live to you from Likoni, and specifically from Shika Adabu Primary School, that is at the border of Mombasa and Kwale counties. And here we are told that a total of 96 students sat for their KCPE examination in the year 2018, and only 80 of them have reported to Form 1s, and 16 are still missing. This follows after the security officials in the region raised concerns over the matter. I remember yesterday Belio Kipsang was here in the region and of course said that parents will be also, those parents that their students, or rather their children, have not reported to school will be arrested and actions taken against them. Remember, today security officials from Mombasa County together with education stakeholders are going around doing a spot check across the schools, just trying to get the numbers of those students who are still missing. And I'll just like quickly to speak to the county commissioner, that is Evans Ochoki of Mombasa County, to just give us a briefing of how many schools they've visited so far, how many they intend to cover after they leave here, Shika Adabu Primary School, and just to give us an update on the numbers of those who have not reported to Form 1. Thank you so much, sir, for joining NTV. Just to give us an update of the number. Yesterday, the Ministry of Education, that is Basic Education, PS Belio Kipsang, said that the coastal counties, those are Kwale, Mombasa, Tana River, they are lagging behind in terms of transitioning students to Form 1. So far, what are you doing, and the numbers? Do you have the numbers that, according to you, that you've managed to gather?
Yeah, Mombasa County, I would speak about Mombasa County. Mombasa County, the last mile campaign on 100% transition to secondary school stands at 72%. But since yesterday we have visited, today we have visited 4 schools in Likoni, and we will also visit another 3 this afternoon, and tomorrow we'll be going around the whole county. But the message is that we want all pupils, all head teachers, to give us the list of the pupils who sat for their KCPE examinations, and those who have gone to school and those who have not reported to school. For example, in this school, 96 sat for their national exams. 80 have gone to school. 2 have not reported back to school. So we are saying that all those students who have not reported to school, to secondary school, should go to the primary school where they are sat in their examinations, or to go to the nearest education office or the nearest chief's office. We want to know what reasons that they have not gone to school. Probably they were chosen to a school which is far away, so we can change that. Because we have enough places from 1 secondary school slots in Likoni and in Mombasa County. So if it is that, we will be able to replace the school. If it is a question of school fees, we will be able to request bursaries so that they are given. So that is the campaign that we are going on now. We are saying watoto wote shuleni, tunataka watoto wote ni Mombasa County waliofanya mitihani waweze kuenda shule, hata kama walizaa, hata kama walikuwa na mimba na wakazaa wakati wakiwa wanafanya mitihani, sasa wanaweza kuendelea na masomo yao, waweze kuendelea hata kama walikuwa pengine ni walikuwa wameingia kwa mambo ya uhalifu.
Let me ask you from this particular school, we had 96 candidates. Yes. 80 reported to school. That means 16 are missing. Yes. Have you tried contacting their parents?
Yes, those 16 actually were out of it's only 2 that we are aware of that they are not, but the others we have summoned their parents. The chief is here. We have summoned their parents, and we hope this afternoon they will be able to come here or tomorrow morning so that we find out what exactly is the problem. And this is what we are saying. All other primary schools, they should also account for the standard 8 candidates who sat for their KCPE exams, so that we know what the problem is. They should go back to their primary schools where they sat the exams, so that we know what the problem is. Okay. If it is school fees, then we will see how they can get a bursary. Okay. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. Well, that is a jointly exercise conducted by the security officials together with education stakeholders in this region, trying to make sure that there will be 100% transition to Form 1. I remember that the Ministry of Education has raised concern and an alarm saying that all the stakeholders need to come together and be able to address this particular issue and of course execute the order that the President and largely the government urged all the stakeholders to ensure that there will be 100% transition to Form 1. Back to you, Olive.
Thank you for that. Kevin Mutai there speaking to us from Likoni. Now, police have seized a bang worth more than 4.5 million shillings in a house in Kiambu County's Kahawaskari. Police say they raided the home after a tip-off from neighbors.
Neighbors claim to have suspected the occupants of the house after loud noises and multiple cars were seen entering and exiting the compound. Police who responded to the call found bundles of bang, each weighing 5 kgs in the house.
Our officers stormed this house when they entered here and found everywhere closed. In fact, they had to jump over the wall. Unlucky, one of the windows were not closed, so they entered in and found 2 young men.
The police welcomed the tip-off, urging people to remain vigilant and embrace the Nyumba Kumi initiative in order to fight all forms of crime.
My message to those people who are doing illegal businesses within this county, Kiambu, I will not tell them to stop, but I will tell them continue, but you cannot escape.
Mimi ningetaka kuwahimiza na niwa encourage Nyumba Kumi tuwekelee sana hiyo mambo ya Nyumba Kumi. Wacha tujue jirani. Leo ni bangi, kesho ingine itakuwa kitu ingine, tuliona vile kulifanyika.
So far, 2 suspects believed to be the peddlers have been arrested and will be charged for possession with intention to distribute the drugs. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Residents of a Katano village in Kikuyu sub-county woke up to find their goats inexplicably dead. Martha Wanjiru, a resident, says that 6 of her goats died overnight and part of her property stolen from her store. She believes unknown people killed the goats, adding that the crime rate has gone up. Residents also want the Kenya Wildlife Service to comb the area and ensure that there are no wild animals.
Busi inalala zote chini na inatoa damu, ndio nikafikiria pengine ni shui. Sasa kuangalia vizuri ndio niliona hii si shui, kwa sababu ingine mivuvi ilikuwa imefujika na ikaaguswa huko chini. Sasa nikaamini kwa sababu ni kama uma walitumia wakifuja naye. Sasa nikaona.
Deputy President William Ruto has insisted that he has been the only Kenyan politician subjected to a lifestyle audit in the public eye, while stating that the Jubilee government is keen on fighting corruption in the country in order to realize the Big Four agenda of development. DP Ruto also told BBC's Hard Talk presenter Stephen Saka that he is not shaken by what he terms as propaganda of a rift between himself and President Uhuru Kenyatta, and notes that he will not answer former Jubilee Vice Chair David Murathe's claims. NTV's Leila Mohammed with excerpts from that BBC Hard Talk interview.
Deputy President William Ruto, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you very much.
Deputy President William Ruto took questions from the BBC in London and was put to task to explain why his name popped up among the Kenyan population, especially in opinion polls, over his alleged engagement in corruption.
William Ruto.
Yes.
Why do you think you are seen by so many Kenyans as being the epitome of a corrupt politician?
If you look at that list, they put William Ruto, they put a former president, they put the current president, they put the current prime minister, the former prime minister. Largely, all the political leaders that exist today in Kenya were in that list, in that order.
And what does that tell us about the political culture in
That
your
tells
country?
you that the whole corruption narrative has been politicized.
The DP defended his ownership of the Western Hotel, which has been under scrutiny for occupying land belonging to the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority.
Western Hotel sits on 0.7 hectares of land.
Illegally acquired
70,000
land, which actually belongs to the Civil Aviation Authority, and then you miraculously acquired it and built a hotel.
For your information, Western Hotel was bought.
Illegally?
Not bought illegally. In fact, for the record, the National Land Commission has made a finding that Western was an innocent purchaser for value from somebody who got it illegally. And reparations have been made constitutionally to restore that land to Kenya Civil Aviation Authority.
The question of his wealth, the DP could only refer his host to parliamentary records where all government officials declare their wealth.
The media has gone further to carry out a lifestyle audit on William Ruto, the only politician who has been subjected to lifestyle audit by the media.
So when you did the sums and you catalogued all of your assets, how much were you worth?
That information is available in the public domain.
Well, great.
You should have done some research before you came.
But if it's in the public domain, it's not a secret. So tell me, how much are you worth?
It is in public domain, Shaka. I encourage you to go to Google and find out what William Ruto owns.
The country's second in command assured the nation that the Jubilee government's Big Four agenda is on track and that the current responsibilities given to the Interior CS Matiang'i are not a plan by his boss to clip his wings. The latest attack on the DP's character by some former members of the Jubilee Party have been dismissed as a non-entity by Ruto himself, who notes that he will not be forced into a back and forth with David Murathe. The DP spoke also on Kenya's presence in Somalia, stating that the KDF troops would be there on peacekeeping indefinitely until peace returns to the nation.
From Deputy President William Ruto's interview with BBC to trade matters, Kenya will not intervene on the alleged influx of cheap eggs and other products from the other East African countries into the Kenyan market. According to Trade Principal Secretary Chris Kipto, the government has not yet found evidence of dumping or a breach of the required safety standards. Victor Kiprop spoke to the PS and now files the following story.
Once a lucrative venture with tempting returns, egg farming in Kenya is now becoming less attractive as farmers grapple with dwindling returns due to our glut fueled by the influx of cheaper imports from neighboring countries.
Hatuuzi kwa sababu yanafika huku yakiwa na bei ndogo. Mteja akija kununua ya kwetu anasema mbona haya yana bei kubwa, haya yana bei ndogo.
Iangalie vile kutakuwa na ile kichungi ya kuchunga isije kwa wingi.
But while some of the traders want the imports banned from accessing the Kenyan market, the government says it will not intervene.
We are committed to promoting free trade within East Africa. So we can only stop goods that are coming to Kenya if they violate the rules and regulations. Around safety, if the food coming in don't meet safety standards, if also we find there is an element of dumping, meaning the cost of those goods where they are is even higher than here, or what they are selling is higher than what is being sold in Kenya, then we have to come in. Right now, we don't seem to have evidence that there is any dumping or that there are issues around food safety. If we get that evidence, we will take action.
The East African Community Common Market Protocol, which came into force in 2010, provides for free movement of goods, labor, services and capital within the region in order to accelerate economic growth and development. Kenyan traders, however, maintain that they are disadvantaged as the cost of production in Kenya has gone up since the imposition of a 16% value-added tax on poultry feeds in 2013. According to traders, a tray of eggs from Uganda retails at about 240 shillings compared to between 300 and 330 shillings in Kenya.
We have made good progress to set up the Trade Remedy Agency after Parliament passed the Trade Remedy Law. By end of this year, we are going to have a fully operational Trade Remedy Agency that we are allowed to make sure that you don't face unfair competition from products coming from other countries. So but you need to accept, I'm preparing Kenyans also to accept genuine products in our market because we believe in free trade. We can't talk about exports and we are keen to block imports.
Kenya accounted for about 57% of imports made by East African countries in 2017. Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, however, shows that the country's imports from the EAC in the first 9 months of 2018 increased by 42% to 54.8 billion shillings. Victor Kiprop, NTV.
Residents of Bengal village in Tana River County have been deprived of their sole source of water as a massive pond in the area began to dry. The locals have struggled to cope with an acute shortage of drinking water for the past 4 weeks as they turn to digging wells on dry waterways to access the precious commodity.
Bengal villages in Tana River County have a problem. Their main source of water has gone dry. The lack of water forces locals to dig wells in dry waterways where they scoop out sand to get water for their use and for their livestock. They have to endure the muddy water and scorching sun to get the precious commodity. The quest for water is one that cannot be ignored here. It involves just about any means necessary after the pond ran dry a month ago.
Tunangoja usiku. Usiku ikifika ndio inatoa maji ndani ya matope kidogo. Hiyo ndio tunafuruta. Saa zingine unakuta mtu anazama ndani ya matope. Tunatoa maisha yake ili asikufe. Hii tunapasua, tunachimba mahali ndio tunasanya maji tuingize. Hiyo ndio tunapata nao maji.
With no any other options, residents here gather on the roadside to bleed with buses en route to Garissa to transport their empty jerrycans and bring them water to drink.
Many who cannot afford to buy the essential liquid from vendors are literally left begging for water.
Na tunasumbua kile siku madereva na kondukta saa yote tunapishana hapa na mtungi. Mara hata hawana namna ya kushukisha mzigo. Wamama wetu wengine huwa wanagongwa na gari ajili ya kukimbia na mtungi ya maji. Watoto wanamalizika na kiu hapa. Kwa hivyo tunataka serikali watuone hatuna governor.
Business in the area has been affected, with some forced to close down because they cannot access clean water.
Hii ni shilingi 100. Tunanunua naye. Mtembe anakulipa atusaidie. Alitukujia na akatuambia bona hamjaishi mahali karibu yuko mtoni. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa msaada ametuletea.
Watoto wangu sasa wanangoja baba atuletee chakula. Nitatoa wapi chakula? Mimi nangangana nitoe ndani ya matope maji.
Locals say water scarcity is common in Bengal, especially during the dry season, and it is the biggest challenge in their daily lives.
Kenya yetu sijui wametusahau namna gani. Baada ya wiki mbili hii mifugo hakuna. Mwenyezi Mungu labda Mwenyezi Mungu yokoe.
In a region that has county and national government presence, water scarcity has become a problem that locals see as more than just a lack of resources. It is regarded as an indicator that they are an abandoned people. Salah Muhammad, NTV, Bengal, Tana River County.
A pro-government campaigner was killed in eastern Senegal on Monday in the first fatality from a string of pre-election clashes between supporters.
United hosts Sofapaka at the Kasarani Stadium in one of the 4 top-flight matches lined up this afternoon across the country. But Toto Bamungu are 5th on the table with 20 points, just 5 points below the Slum Boys, with the leaders having lost only 1 match in the league. This season in Mombasa, 4th-placed Bandari face struggling Vihiga United, knowing a win will get them level on points with Mathare. These are 7th-placed Karabangi Sharks travel to the Bukhungu Stadium to play 11th-placed Kakamega Homeboys. In Machakos, bottom of the table Posta Rangers will clash with 8th-placed Nzoia Sugar. Onto rugby, and former Mwamba captain Brad Awoko has secured a 6-month professional rugby deal with Spanish club At under-19 level, played for Shujaa in invitational tournaments and has 2 caps for the Kenya Simbas. According to Alfredo Benedi, the technical director for Phoenix, the side was looking for a replacement for an injured centre, and Brad fits the bill. The side currently tops the 2nd division of the rugby league in Spain, and it is seeking promotion to the top tier.